Dear students, let us solve a model question paper in social science for the 10th standard state level Sslc examination. The model question paper I have chosen is the one that has been released by the KSEEB, that is the Karnataka Secondary Education Examination Board. Maximum marks will be 80, 20 marks will be internal assessment, and the 80 marks question paper I will solve it step by step, and the answers will appear on the screen. The first 8 questions will be multiple choice questions, each one carrying 1 mark. Then come the simple recall questions. You answer it in a word or a sentence. Again they carry 1 mark each, 8 marks. Short answer questions wherein you have to write in 2 to 4 sentences. They will carry 2 marks each, altogether 16 marks. Short answer questions will carry 3 marks each. 3 to 6 sentences you will answer the questions in. The total allotment of marks for this section is 27. Then come the questions wherein the answers are written in 8 to 10 points. 4 such questions will be there of 4 marks each, altogether 16 marks. Then at the end there will be an outline map of India which you have to draw and locate the given places, 4 places. 1 mark for drawing the outline map and 4 marks for locating the 4 places that you have been asked to, altogether 5 marks. So total marks are 80. We will start off with the first question now. First one is a multiple choice question. For each question there will be 4 options from which you will have to select the correct option and write the complete answer along with the number of the question, and you have to also write the right alphabet of that particular option. I have not given the entire question there, but the key sentence has been given to you for your reference. Sometimes you may not need the options at all. The moment you read the question, you arrive at the answer. The first question is the rebellion against the British at Bidanur and Shikaripur in 1800 is A. Hyder Ali, B. Dundiyawad, C. Chennamma, and D. Sangolli Rayana. You know the answer is Dundiyawad. Only the right answer has been given there, but when you write in the exam, it should be first question, sub question number 1, then you have to write the serial alphabetical number of the option, right option, that is B, capital B. In front of that it will be Dundiyawad. Second question now. Derozio had to resign from his teaching post because of A. the pressure from his colleagues and opponents, B. his ill health, C. his interest in studies on Vedas, D. the pressure from the government to return back to England. Here the right option is the pressure from his colleagues and opponents. Those who were for Derozio and those who opposed him, both these groups were very particular that Derozio should resign his post of professorship in the university and come out. Those who were for Derozio, they were perturbed by the attack of the opponents, and those who opposed him, naturally they wanted him to resign. So almost all his friends and opponents, everyone insisted that he should resign. So the answer is here A, the pressure from his colleagues and opponents that I have underlined. Question number 3. Panchashila principles were signed between A. Jawaharlal Nehru and Netaji, B. Motilal Nehru and Chavan, C. Jawaharlal Nehru and Chavan, and D. Motilal Nehru and Chacha Nehru. Panchashila principles were signed by Jawaharlal Nehru, the first Prime Minister of India, and Chavan, the Prime Minister of China. So that is C. Okay, that's immaterial. I am not very particular about the option, alphabetical order of the option. You have to know the answer first. Fourth one, migration is one of the main features of organized sector laborers, unorganized sector laborers, child laborers, female laborers. The right answer is unorganized sector laborers. They are unorganized. They don't have any service rules. Their jobs are not of a permanent nature. They always like to switch over or leave the place and go to other places in search of better jobs. Or sometimes they are removed from service even. Security is not there. So they too will not stay permanently in one place. So unorganized sector, they don't have provident fund or a fixed salary or ESI benefits, retirement benefits. More than everything, they don't have security of job. So they keep moving from place to place. So migration is a common feature of unorganized sector laborers. Fifth question. Narmada Bachao movement was led by, this is what I said. The moment I say that, you will tell the answer. You don't need options at all. Narmada Bachao movement was led by Medha Patkar. The other options given, they are to distract you. Arjuna Aradhya, Thierry Garwal's Villages of Salyani. No doubt at all, it was Medha Patkar who led. So remember very well, Narmada Bachao movement, the leader who led it was Medha Patkar. Sixth question. Nagarjuna Sagar project is built across the river. A mighty project, it is Krishna river. Other distractors given here, Riand river, Kaveri river, Sutlej river. So the answer is Krishna river. Seventh one. Ashraya Yojana was implemented with the intention of, children who are good at Kannada, they know the word Ashraya itself gives you the clue. Ashraya means shelter. A Yojana which gives shelter to people. So what are the options given here? Providing employment, providing houses, we got it here. Providing agricultural lands, no. Providing education, no. Providing houses, providing Ashraya, Ashraya Yojana. Next one, eighth. The Consumer Protection Act was passed in the year, I think you know the year very well, it is 1986. The other options are 1976, 1963 and 1960. None of them, it is 1986. Let's move to the second question now. 8 multiple choice items are over. Now we have 8 simple recall questions. You can answer them in a sentence or even you can answer them in one word. If the answer can be clear with just one word. If it's a pinpointed question, you can answer in one word, nothing wrong. In case you are to write in one full sentence, write it in a sentence there. Ninth question. Now 8 such questions are there, each one carrying 1 mark. Why was Fort William College opened in Calcutta? The British opened Fort William College in Calcutta. It was for the benefit of people aspiring to join civil services. The British wanted to select the cream from the Indian population and appoint them as officers in civil services. So they started Fort William College in Calcutta. 10th question. Who is known as the Iron Man of India? You all know well, you are prepared for the exam. Who is he? The well-known personality, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. 562 kingdoms or princely states were there in India. He brought them all under the Union of India. And most of them agreed to join on their own, but in certain cases the pressure had to be brought, mainly Hyderabad, Junagadh and Kashmir. And the rest, because of pressure from the Union Government of India and even the kind of threat they had given in case any princely state doesn't join, they all decided over a span of about 1.5 years, most of the princely states, they all decided to join the Union of India. And the credit mainly goes to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who was the Home Minister, then Home Minister of India. What is unemployment? Now here you see, you have to write the answer in a sentence. You cannot write it in a word. Unemployment, nirudyoga, you have to define it. A situation wherein a person doesn't find work in accordance to his capacity or qualification. Tomorrow you become a postgraduate. You want to get a job in accordance to your qualification. You may not get it at all. Or you are quite capable of doing a particular job, but you don't get a job. In both these cases, we find unemployment getting generated. 12th question. What is female feticide? Feticide is killing the fetus. The baby which is in the womb of the mother, you call it as fetus. It's a growing baby. For 9 months, it will be there in the womb of the mother. People kill the fetus even as the baby is in the womb. You call it as feticide. So what is female feticide? Killing the female fetus in the womb of the mother, or aborting the fetus forcibly by giving certain medicines. The fetus is made to get aborted from the womb of the mother. So killing the girl baby here, female fetus, it's a crime. It's a crime. Boys or girls, male or female, they are both equal. Both are equal. Both have a right to live. They can't be killed. Why should we plant trees along the sea coast? Here they have given coast. Coast, when it's given, you should take it as sea coast. It is to prevent sea erosion all along the coastline. All along the coastline. During the advancing monsoons, in the western coast especially, advancing monsoons, there will be terrible sea erosion in certain places. The sea will carry away the coastal soil and it will get inundated. It will move in. People may lose their houses if they are very close to the sea. In order to prevent it, you have to fortify the coast. That's a costly process. If you can grow huge trees all along the coast, it will bind soil and it will prevent the sea from entering in, because the sea will be very rough during advancing monsoons. So, what's the answer? To prevent sea erosion. If you can write in a sentence, well and good, or at least you write to prevent sea erosion, you get full marks. Next, which is the coldest month in India? It is the month of January. From Kanyakumari to Kashmir, entire India has its coldest period in the month of January. Why is the 15th of March celebrated as World Consumers Day? Because on this day in 1962, John F. Kennedy, the President of the United States of America, he gave the citizens 4 rights relating to the consumer rights. So there the entire movement started in the world. To remember that word, 15th of March, it is regarded as Consumers' Day all over the world. So it is World Consumers' Day. It is on the 15th of March. We in India too, we observe it. So John F. Kennedy gave it to the citizens of the United States on the 15th of March 1962. 16th question. What is national income? You have to define. You should know the simplest definition that you can write. Total value of goods and services produced in the country during 1 year. We produce goods. You can find out what worth they are from the viewpoint of economy. Then services, whatever services people render. In the service sector, we render services. A teacher, he renders services. His service he gives. A doctor, he gives a service. A lawyer gives a service. A social worker gives a service. You value that service that is given to the society. You add up the value of all goods and services. The total amount you get of all the goods and services produced in the country over 1 year, you call it as national income. Okay. Now we move to the next pattern. You have 8 questions here, each question carrying 2 marks. And your answer should be in 2 to 4 sentences. If you can write the answers very clearly in 2 sentences, fine. You need not struggle to somehow drag it or increase it to 4 sentences. See, here the volume of the answer is not that important. The worth of the answer. It should have the right content that is required. Let's see 17th question. Explain dual government introduced by Robert Clive. Dual government. The dual government was introduced by Robert Clive in Bengal in 1765, just after the Buxar battle, Buxar war. According to this, the Diwani rights of collecting land revenue were given to the British. Collection of revenue from the citizens, from the people, was given to the British. Imparting of justice and administrative functions were given to the Nawab. Nawab has to carry out the administration, whereas the income, the revenue will be collected by the British. It's a dual role, a dual policy. It doesn't convey any meaning at all. But the British were very particular. They did not want to have the burden of administration. They were focused on the income that they get from the farmers, from the people. So they kept the rights in their hands. Next question, 18th. What were the reformations advocated by Satyashodak Samaj? Here you can write in a para. I would suggest in such questions better you write the points one below the other. Even from the valuation point of view, the valuer will find it easy, and you too will be able to impress on the valuer that you have command on the subject, provided you are read well and you present it properly, one below the other. How can you write them? Look there. Satyashodhak Samaj was founded by Jyotiba Phule. What did it advocate? What did it put forth? First one, gender equality. Men and women are equal. Both the sexes are equal. Women were being looked down upon during those times. So Jyotiba Phule and his wife Savitribai Phule, they were very particular that women should get a place of honor in the society. Now you don't write all these. You know, okay. You write there gender equality or right place for women. Advocated right place for women in this society. Then next point, prohibition of liquor. People used to consume liquor and that used to spoil their life. They used to lose interest in the work, in the job they have, and they used to while away time. They used to beat the women folk in the house, their kids. They used to lose interest in all family matters. And the Dalits, the weak groups in the society, the untouchables, they were the victims of it. Next, free and compulsory education for all. Everyone in the society should get educated. This idea got generated by them. Otherwise, education was limited only to a few in the society. Next, casteless society. Society should turn to be casteless. No caste system. Humane treatment of humane treatment of Shudras and Dalits. Shudras and Dalits in the community. Next one, social justice for all. All should get treated equally. Equal rights to women. Now these are all the key aspects that had been put forth by the Satyashodhak Samaj. Okay, 19th. The 19th question is, what are the reasons for tensions between India and Pakistan? In spite of all efforts put by the leaders, we have not been able to have cordial relations with Pakistan. Every now and then it explodes. There will be disturbance. So our relations with Pakistan get strained. What are the reasons? Give the main reasons. Don't go on writing a para. We can trace the following reasons for tensions between India and Pakistan. One opening sentence you can write. Though I have written the question there, you need not write in the exam. You write it in the form of a sentence. Or you can write reasons for tensions between India and Pakistan. Below write the points. First point, terrorism. Second point, river water dispute. There is a river water dispute between India and Pakistan over the waters of Stlc river. Then Kashmir issue. Though we have got it solved, Pakistan is not happy with that. They have lost Kashmir forever now. We have declared it as a part of the Indian Union. Article 370 has been scrapped. Then border dispute. All along the border, they keep on disturbing us. Now and then, this border dispute has been a big headache for India. And the last one, economic disparity. In India, We have stable government. People, they have been able to manage. We don't have such large scale problems in the country. Everything is performing well. Things move coolly. But in Pakistan it's not so. There is inflation. There is a lot of disturbance. Though there is democracy in Pakistan, military has powers concentrated in its hands. So there is disturbance all the time. If they are not happy with the elected government, the military tries to just get the government scrapped and take the powers into their hands. See, those 70 years are over. We never had military rule in India even once. But in Pakistan, military has taken over the administration quite a number of times. We move to the next question. Write a note on Narmada Bachao Andolan. Here you can write a para. Or if you like to write it as points, 1, 2, 3, 4, write one below the other. So what are the points? The huge dam built across the river Narmada under Sardar Sarovar project. Sardar Sarovar project displaced local tribal people. It's a huge project. It has about 3,000 dams covered under it. Big, medium and small, even bunds, including everything, about 3,000 dams, out of which 10 dams are huge, huge dams. So this dam, this particular project itself has made lots of people get displaced. Local tribal people, they get displaced. As scientific studies found that the dam would affect the ecological balance in the area. Even forests, they got drowned. People started agitating against the dam under the leadership of Medha Patkar. This particular movement went on for a very long period. Even now, the Sardar Vallabhbhai project, Sardar Sarovar project is not complete. Still, Medha Patkar is busy getting the people mobilized and protesting for various issues that disturb the community as such. So she has done a wonderful job in that. She has been the link between people and the government. Okay, we move to the next question, the 21st. Which are the important seasons of India? See, in such questions, you can't err at all. The climate of India is divided into 4 seasons mainly. First one, winter season. Let us start from that. Winter, December, January, February. Summer season, March, April, May. The rainy season, June, July, August. It ends by somewhere the mid of September. Then you have the retreating monsoon season. Starts from there, October, November. Later half of September, October, November. You have the retreating monsoon season. Some of the southern states, especially Tamil Nadu, gets very heavy rain during this period. Rest of the South India too gets quite an amount of rain during the retreating monsoon season. So these 4 you have to remember well, should be able to write well. Next question, why are forests declining in India? Forests are declining. Say 100 years ago, 110 years ago, 80% of India had got covered by forests. 80%. Today, we have only about 15 to 20% of India covered by forests. Where are the rest of forests gone? They have declined because of various reasons. What are the reasons? You have to mention. The forests are declining for various reasons. They are, Viz, I have written. Viz means they are, you can write they are. Expansion of agriculture. Population is increased like that, like anything. We were just about 20 crores then, 100 years ago. Today we have 130 crores, more than 130 crores. So we need food. Food has to be grown in farms. You have to expand agriculture. So we have cut forests. We have got them converted into farms. You need not write everything. Right there, expansion of agriculture. Farming. Second, construction of roads and railways. Lots of forests have been cut down. 3, irrigation projects, dams. The dam may not require much area, but the reservoir which is going to get constructed, that will cover lot of forest area, and ultimately forests get drowned and destroyed. Industrialization. Every industry that comes up requires lot of land. Lot of land for the industry and for housing. Then urbanization. As cities develop, they grow, you have to cut forests and you have to provide space. Overgrazing of animals. The animal wealth of the country, they need area for grazing. So near every village or a farm or agricultural area, you have forests, and these domestic animals, they graze in whatever area is available to them, and small seedlings that keep coming up, they are eaten away by them, and forests, they get declined over a period of time. Forest fires due to accident or human mistakes, there can be fires. These fires take away hectares and hectares of land by the time they are put out or they get put out on their own. Forest fires. Then illegal felling of trees. Man, because of selfish reasons, he cuts trees. Illegal felling of trees. Now we have about 8 reasons given here. Not necessary that all the 8 should be written. You should be able to write at least some 6. 1 or 2 you may forget as you write, but the key reasons you should not forget. Remember well. Expansion of agriculture, it's a key reason. Roads, railways, irrigation projects, industrialization, urbanization. Learn, study well. Even as good citizens of the country, we should know the reasons which lead to such problems. Next, the 23rd question. What are the causes for underdevelopment? Here too, the causes for underdevelopment are: we have not grown like Britain or France or United States of America or Switzerland or Sweden, even Australia for that matter. What are the reasons? We have been struggling. Government after government that came to power, they have put in lot of labor into it, lot of efforts into it. Still, we are struggling very hard to come up, become a leading country in the world from the viewpoint of economic standards. What are the reasons? Very simple question. You just think over, you will be able to enlist. Don't learn these answers blindly. Understand them. The first reason is poverty. We have innate poverty in India. One of the reasons for that is overpopulation. 136 crore people we have in this land. We are heavily populated. See, United States is 3 times our land, 3 times our India. They have only 20 crore people there. 20 crore. As against 136 crore people here. We are feeding, still we are feeding, we are not failed. Second reason, overpopulation. Third reason, poverty. How is it a reason? People are not in a position to invest huge amounts on big projects, even if they have idea. They need capital from somewhere. So poverty is a limiting factor. Third one, unemployment. There is unemployment in the country. Maybe everyone works, but still they are underemployed. Underemployed is also unemployment. Fourth one, illiteracy. About 35% of people in India still, they are illiterate. Illiteracy is a huge barrier. in terms of growth and development of the country. Everyone should be able to read and write and should be able to know what the world that surrounds them is. They should be able to think well, logically arrive at conclusions and act. Low national income. Our income itself is low. Compared to Western countries, our income is low. Natural calamities and wars. Sometimes added to all these, there will be natural calamities, maybe floods, earthquakes, or drought. All these become factors that limit our growth and development. And added to all these, we have wars. With China, we had a war. With Pakistan, we had wars, one after the other. And each of the wars will turn to be a bane on the economic strength of the country. It turns to be a huge burden for the nation. Next question. Which are the consumer rights granted by John F. Kennedy? The US President John F. Kennedy granted the American consumers 4 basic rights. They are here in this question. If you have to write in 3 or 4 sentences, you have to remember what are those 4 rights he gave to the consumers, American consumers he mainly gave, because he can't act for the entire world. And most of the countries in the world followed that path. Even India is a country which followed the path, same path. The right to safety, the right to choose whatever consumer items are there in the market, the right to information. We want to know about those consumer products. We have to be literate too from that angle. The right to be heard. When we have grievances, we need courts where we have a right to approach them and make them hear our grievances such that the courts can act and get us the needed justice. This is all a check and balance. These checks and balances have to exist if the market has to function properly. We move to the 25th question now. Yeah. 25th question. What were the effects of British education in India? Now see, from this question onwards, each question carries 3 marks. It has been put under a separate section. Answer the following questions in 3 to 6 sentences. Now, these questions should have enough substance. You can't just write answers as you write for the previous question. It has to be a little bulky, but it should be full of content. It should be full of content. Okay, let us see. What were the effects of British education in India? Remember quite a few points such that you can write at least 5 or 6 points then. Now I have given about 8 points here. You may not be able to remember all, 1 or 2 you may forget. Under the tension there you may forget, possibility. But you may remember all. If you can remember, you write. Don't write in full sentences. That may turn to be very difficult. It will turn to be time consuming. You should be able to answer all the 37 questions in the paper. You can't leave out any. Modern thinking and democratic ideals. From the political angle, Europe and America, there the democratic ideals had started flourishing. The modern thinking of philosophers, the books they wrote, and how they brought an impression on the people, and people started demanding for democratic governments. All these had to be brought into the Indian society too. The British did not bring it from that angle. They started teaching English here, and the talented few who attended the British colleges, they learnt English and they started reading the European texts written by great philosophers. They started getting these translated into Indian languages, taking the theme to the people of India and making them understand. So we had a new breeze blowing over India. So modern thinking and democratic ideals, human rights, human values, the right of the people to govern themselves. They cannot be autocratic, ruled by the kings. All these were the new ideas. Study of literature. So people started reading European books, and here too, even in the vernacular texts, people started taking more interest. So education did not get confined to a few. Now it was getting universalized. Unity in thinking process. In the entire country, people started thinking on a new line. Education for all. Unity, equality, equality between sexes. All these were the new ideas that started pouring in. Periodicals started in India, new periodicals, because the leaders wanted to carry this information to people. Lots of periodicals started in the vernacular languages, that is local languages too. New social and religious reformation movements. So the leaders who felt that much has to be done in this field, they started various social organizations in India. In Bengal, in Maharashtra, Punjab, you find new organizations coming, new religious reformation movements taking shape. This made Indians appreciate their rich heritage. When we started reading the European textbooks, we started reading the Indian vernacular textbooks too, written by our forefathers, the Vedas, or maybe the political philosophy of Chanakya, our history, and we started developing appreciation of our own heritage. We have a lot of these things which we are getting from the European textbooks in our own philosophy. We started digging for the rich heritage whatever we had. Western thoughts brought fresh thoughts into the minds of youth. So our youth started getting inspired by the Western philosophy. That's English education, thereby Western philosophy. Freedom struggles across the globe, especially in France, the revolution in France, revolution in Italy, revolution in the United States of America. All these brought in lot of new ideas into our society. So freedom struggles across the globe revolutionized us. We too should get independence someday. Why should the British rule us? What right do they have to exploit us? Schools and colleges started in India. That's English education. English education became a door for the Indian people to know about the West and get their knowledge updated. 26th question. What were the aims of Arya Samaj? Arya Samaj was started by Dayanand Saraswati. Start with that. Though they have asked what were the aims of Arya Samaj, some of you may just question, why should you mention about the founder? They have not asked about it there. No, that's the traditional way of starting an answer. You should make yourself felt that you know the answer well. Right? The first point, Arya Samaj was established by Dayanand Saraswati. Now the rest of the points, you are right. What were its aims? Belief in one formless God. Arya Samaj wanted to bring in clarity and explain to the people, whatever be the religion we follow or the sectorial thinking we have, ultimately it is true that we have one formless God. What was believed in the period of Vedas. Caste system was rejected. There's no point in getting stuck to the caste system. It rejected it. No one is a Shudra or Brahmin by birth. That's what Arya Samaj advocated. Encouragement to intercaste marriages. In case they don't find a place in their society, they can take shelter in the Arya Samaj itself. Lots of people in Maharashtra started getting intercaste marriages accepted and they took shelter under Arya Samaj. Then rejection of polygamy. Polygamy. You can't marry more than one girl. You can't have 3 or 4 wives. That's called as polygamy. That was in practice in those times. Child marriages. Cradle marriages were taking place. Even if the child is just 3 years or 4 years, marriages would take place between a girl baby and a boy baby in the cradle itself. Those children, what do they know? The adults, they decide and get them wedded, and they have to stick on to those weddings as they grow up, as they get matured. So independence is not there to select the life partner. The independence was not there at all. Men and women are equal, Arya Samaj proposed, and Arya Samaj also said there's a lot of substance in the Indian Vedas. Get back to Vedas. One should study Vedas and preach them. So, back to Vedas was a big movement that the Arya Samaj took up. Next question, the 27th, economic causes for the first war of Indian independence. Economic causes for the first war of Indian independence. It took place in 1857. In my answer, that's not there, you can get it added. The first war of Indian independence took place in 1857. I feel it's necessary. Maybe they have asked for economic causes, but you have to make it proved that you have hold on the subject. Industrial revolution in England ruined Indian industries. What was the main reason? Why were people unhappy about the British rule? Because there was industrial revolution in Europe. Huge industrial revolution. They started producing goods on mass scale, and that ruined the Indian village industries. They discouraged our industries. Many industries started getting closed down in India because better goods, quality goods were coming from Europe. Machines were being used to produce there. Wool and cloth making industries suffered here. Actually, every village was getting the cloth ready, whatever was required for its people. Now, wool and cloth making industries suffered here because clothes that were coming from Europe, England, they were of fine quality. They were machine made. Artisans of India became unemployed. When people started purchasing those, automatically here unemployment got generated. People lost jobs, artisans lost jobs. People lost interest in that. And besides all this, the British too started ignoring and neglecting and poo-pooing the village industries here. Whatever cotton you produce in the farms has to go to the British, and they send it to Britain. So here, our artisans did not get cotton. They wanted to provide enough raw material to their industries in Britain. And they required raw materials on a big scale, huge quantum of raw materials. Yes, they were all demonic machines which would produce material on a large scale within a short time. The process what we had in India was a time consuming one. Indian handicrafts became financially weak. In Bengal, Bihar, the British insisted that everyone should grow the material or items that the industries in Europe they do require. For example, jute. They required jute. They insisted that jute should be grown. They needed indigo for coloring clothes, and they insisted that farmers should compulsorily, it's mandatory on their part to grow indigo. They should give up growing of cotton, rice or wheat, and they have to start growing indigo. And when there was drought, people did not have anything to eat. Crores together people died. Every second person died in Bihar and Bengal during that period because they did not have anything to eat. Farmers were not growing any of the food items. Everyone was growing indigo. They were growing jute. They can't be eaten, and they don't get food from other states, other parts. They do not have sufficient food grown there. Earlier it was not so. Every village was self-sufficient. They grew whatever food that was required for that village. Now that system itself was given up. The British spoiled everything. They destroyed the very basic fragments or the fabric. The basic fabric of the society was disturbed. Then through Inam Commission, Inam lands were withdrawn. That is a system that was there from a long time in India. Inam, they had been gifted away to people, gifted away to temples, gifted away to important persons. And it was a system that was going on. That system was given up. Government took over the lands that had been given as inams, and they had a different way to be followed. Due to doctrine of lapse, many kingdoms lost their rights. These kingdoms, the kings or the princes there, they used to look after the people. There's a very good rapport between the kings, nawabs and people. That fabric had got disturbed. Due to doctrine of lapse, many kingdoms lost the kingdoms itself. Princes lost their kingdoms. It went into British hands. British never cared. The kind of rapport our Indian princes had with the people, it was not found when the British took it over. They were after money. They were after profit. They wanted to make their economy strong. They were interested in building up their native country, Britain, rather than serving our people. Okay, here again you have 3 plus 3 plus 2. 8 points are there. Even if you write about 5 or 6 key points, it's enough. The answer becomes complete and you get full marks. There should not be spelling mistakes. The point should be clear. Clarity should be there in whatever you write. Learn well. We move to the next question, 28th. The 28th question, which are the measures taken to solve unemployment in India? See how I have given the side caption for that. See, the question is, which are the measures taken to solve unemployment? Measures taken to eradicate unemployment or to solve unemployment. What are the steps we have taken? See, one is population control. We are advocating, we are advising people to have small families, have 1 or 2 children, not more than that. We are not dictating it, we are convincing people. And people have started appreciating. Small family norms are being appreciated by people nowadays. So population control, it may take some time to really get materialized, but it's happening. It's happening. Educated people, they do plan their families. They have 2 children or just 1 child, and some families may not think of having children at all. But with illiterate people, it will take some time. That's why we insist that everyone should get educated. Population control. Second one, encouragement to cottage industries. That collage, we just make it cottage industries. It should be COTTAGG. Encouragement to cottage industries in India. If you introduce more and more machines, automatically people lose jobs. What is done by 100 people will be done by a few people, handful of people. And what happens to others? They lose their jobs. The government has to keep in mind, just industrialization as they do in Europe may not find worth in India. We have to keep in mind the lot of the people too, as to how they would manage. It should be in a very planned way. Agricultural development, we have to improve our agriculture. Here in India, a farmer grows for half a person besides what he grows for himself. A farmer grows for himself plus another half a person. Whereas in America, United States of America, he grows for himself plus another 10 people. That's why we say they are advanced. So agriculturally we have to develop, we have to advance. Modern methods of agriculture should find place. It has to be planned very well. There has to be another agricultural revolution in India. Industrial development, industries have to grow. But we have to keep in mind that we don't just rob away the job of the people by way of handicrafts or rural industries. 5-year plans have helped us a lot. See, in the 1950s and 60s, we were finding it difficult to feed all the mouths in India. There was poverty. People were not getting food. There was hunger in the country. People were dying of hunger. But after 1970, we were able to get a hold on that. Today you don't find people dying of hunger. We are in a position to grow whatever food we require for the entire country. When we got independence in 1947, we had 47 crore people. And we were finding it difficult to feed them all. Today we have 136 crore people. We feed all. We do feed. So 5-year plans have helped the country a lot in planning ourselves from the viewpoint of a welfare state, and we have been able to do well. Vocational education encouraged. We have encouraged it, and people are getting vocationally trained well. Rural development. Our focus should be on rural areas. People should not leave rural areas and come to urban areas. They should be able to find a good life, a good social life in the villages itself. So provide roads, provide electricity, see that everyone gets the needed water, all the facilities, good educational facilities, schools, colleges, then hospitals. If all these are provided, why will rural people leave the rural areas and come to cities? They'll try to stick on to the areas where they are living. And employment guarantee programs, provide jobs, come out with lots of plans to provide more and more employment. All these have worked out well in India over the last 40, 50 years, and much more work is expected in the coming years to see that we bring happiness to all the people in our country. We have 9 points here, not difficult to remember. These are the key points, how we can make our country progress. Provide jobs to all. Government cannot provide jobs to all. It can get a setting in the country wherein people can find jobs on their own. Okay, we move to the next question, the 29th one. List out the measures taken to eradicate untouchability in India. See the caption. I have selected the caption from the question itself. Measures taken to eradicate untouchability in India. Always it's better you give a side caption. It will enable the valuer to come to the exact theme of the question without referring the question paper. The side caption has to be there for all questions here which you are going to elaborately write. Untouchability has to be eradicated. Shudras and Dalits, they were untouchables in India. They were being kept away from the society. It's got eradicated to a very large extent, but still lots of rural areas are there where we find untouchability. We have to eradicate it. What can we do? See, what measures have we taken? The work may be incomplete. He is not asking about that. What measures have been taken? Partly they have paid. They have brought us dividends. And much more has to get done. It will get done. Article 17 of the Indian Constitution, it prohibits untouchability. A law has to be there. Article 17 of the Constitution says, untouchability, if you practice it, is a crime. So that's why the second point, Untouchability Crime Act. It's a crime, the act declares, was passed in the year 1955. It is a crime. On one hand, we say we are all equal in the eyes of law. If untouchability gets practiced, it's a big crime. About 30-40 years ago, people were not being allowed, untouchables were not being allowed inside the hotels. They were being made to have their food outside. They used to be given in packed food outside. They were not being allowed in. Their untouchables had to leave the road for people of the upper caste to trade. They had to jump out. They were not being permitted to enter temples. But today, a big change is getting set in. A big change. Universal suffrage. What is suffrage? It's not suffering here. Don't get confused. Suffrage. Suffrage means voting. Universal suffrage. Everyone has the right to vote. All those who have crossed the age of 18 have the right to vote. And right to equality. We are all equal. You can always question. In case your equal rights are getting threatened by somebody. Right to equality guaranteed by our Constitution. Constitution has guaranteed them. SCs and STs they have provided reservation in the educational field, political field, economic field and employment opportunities. These I am not going to elaborate, you have learned. Civil Rights Protection Act was implemented in 1976. We all are accorded civil rights, we have certain rights. Every child, as soon as it gets birth in the Indian soil, it has rights. We are empowered to enjoy them. No one can question, no one can obstruct, no one can come in the way, no one can put a barrier. Everyone should realize. The regulation of 1989 confers special responsibilities on the state government with regard to eradication of untouchability. See, government has to act wherever it feels that the civil rights of people is getting disturbed. They are not getting them to exercise in the right way. People of backward classes are being provided education. Education for all. We have universalized education. We want to bring each and every child in the school going age to the school and get them educated. Compulsory education for all. Financial assistance for agriculture, where people of the backward classes do not have enough money to grow food in their farmlands. The banks come to their help, the government comes to their help, and cottage and small scale industries, if they are run by backward classes, the banks come to their help, government comes to their help, and we want them to come up as such and enjoy life at par with people of the upper caste. See, here number of measures are given. You should be able to write at least 5 or 6 to get full points. Next question, the 30th one. Explain the importance of transport in India. Why transport should play an important part? In the first few decades after we got independence, transport was very poor. Our villages had not got connected well, but today you have transport facilities which have made a very good progress, and every village has got connected today, almost every village, and government has done a big job from this angle. And even the diamond quadrilateral we have, the highways we have, national highways, state highways, then at the rural level too, every village has got connected. Transport plays a key role in the development of a nation. It is necessary. What for? You have to make a case for it now. For the movement of goods and services from their supply location to demand location. Goods which are produced in the farms have to reach places where they are consumed. Goods that are produced by industries, they have to reach the consumers. For this, we need very good roads we have. For the movement of people from one region to the other. For people to move from one part of the country to the other. For carrying out trade at all levels. For providing relief measures in times of natural calamities. When natural calamities are there, we should be able to reach those areas very fast. For transporting food grains across states. Food grains. If there is drought or even in normal times, for the food to move from one place to the other, we need good roads. For promoting economic growth and globalization. Economic growth in the country, and even for globalization, we have to make a dent from the angle of our ability to grow up into an economically strong country in the world. So globalization, we have to become a global power for moving armed forces and military vehicles at war times. In case war gets declared, we are at war with another country, we should be able to move war vehicles, we should be able to move soldiers from one place to the other. For that too, we need good roads, not only inside the country, even in the border areas. Now let us move to the next part. Next question. Which factors influence localization of industries? 31st question. See, industries, when you plan and put them up, you have to be able to decide as to where exactly you have to put up. When crores and crores of rupees are being spent on putting up an industry, you should be very wise in deciding the place where you want to put up the industry. So what are the factors here? Supply of raw materials. You should be able to get raw materials. Supply of power. You need electricity. Do you get enough electricity there? Transport and communication facilities. Good transport facility, roads, and good communication facilities. You should be able to communicate with the outside world well. Market facilities. You should have a good market for all your producers. Then capital. You need money. Have you made the proper arrangements for the money that you require to put up the industry? Labor. Do you get labor? At what cost do you get labor? This is also important. Workforce. Labor is workforce. Water supply. You need water for your industry. Whether it's a water intensive industry, I don't know. You have to decide. Do you get enough water to make the industry run? Water supply. Then, ideal climate, good climate you need. The right climate. If it's a textile industry, you need the right climate for that. So you have to work on the climate. If the climate is not the appropriate one for your industry, you can't put up that industry there. You have to find out some other place. Then government policies. You have to interact with the government, no? So what are the policies of the government? Is it going to be feasible with the kind of industry that you are putting up? Now here 9 points are there. Easy to remember. You have to understand. Okay, we move to the next question. 32nd. Explain the importance of rural development. Now here options are there for some of these questions, but I have not selected the option. I have not put forth the options in the question paper here. I have selected a question wherever options were there, alternatives were there, and whatever I have left out, I will put them up in a separate video later. I have chosen as you should choose in the exam, so that you know how much I have to write in 3 hours 15 minutes. 15 minutes will be there for you to read the question paper and understand. And another 3 hours you have to answer the question paper. Now explain the importance of rural development. Why rural development is required? See, introduction of a 3-tier Panchayat Raj system, that is what is focused on by our constitution. At the central level, central government, state government, and we have the Panchayat Raj. Panchayat Raj once again works at 3 levels: the village level, the taluk level, and the district level. It's a 3-tier Panchayat Raj system we have. Second one, enhancing the basic facilities in rural areas. The Panchayat Raj system, what you have, that's for rural development. Rural development, it works on education, training facilities, health, hygiene, rural roads, communication. All these the Panchayat Raj system has to work on. It has to find the requirements, then it has to come out with plans, programs, and with the state and the central government, it has to work for the upliftment of the people in the rural areas. Third one, promoting farm-related activities like farm-related activities. You have to work at the village level and the taluk level or at the district level to see that problems are overcome and you are in a position to realize progress. Cattle rearing, fisheries, silk industry, poultry, social forestry. A few examples are given. There's a long list of all these. You have to train people, guide them, help them. There's a big job done by the Panchayat, to be done by the Panchayat Raj system. That's why we say at the village and taluk level, the Panchayat Raj system should work very well, with the guidance being taken from the district level. Providing basic amenities such as electricity. You have to provide each and every village with electricity, irrigation, need for water, transport, communication, market yards are required, then banks are required, establishing food processing units, undertaking construction of ponds and tanks, desilting, removing whatever soil has got accumulated, silt has got accumulated, you have to remove from the ponds and lakes, otherwise they get dried up later. Taking up minor irrigation works, all these are jobs to be taken up at the rural level to see that at the rural level we make progress. We have the Panchayat Raj system Panchayat Raj system should work with due rapport with the state and central governments. We'll move to the next question, that 33rd one. Mention the major objectives of Consumer Protection Act. Consumer Protection Act. How can you look into the safety of the consumers? What are they? First one, the Act accords importance to safety and quality. Whatever food items or machines or producers you get in the market, they should be of quality and they should be safe. Next one, avoiding production and sale of dangerous goods. People, to make money, they may go for producing dangerous goods. It may not be of the right quality for people. These have to be controlled in the market. Sale of dangerous goods, prevention of trade malpractices in the market. Trade malpractices. They won't be honest. They'll be dishonest. They cheat people. There's no room for cheating people. Those who are involved in trade, they should be honest. Supervision of quality. From this point of view, you have to supervise. There should be a system to supervise the quality, weights and measures, and prices of goods. People should not cheat the public. Traders should not cheat. Merchants should not cheat. Then compensating the consumers in case of any problem arising as a result of trade. If they are getting cheated because of dishonesty in trade, you have to see that the consumers are compensated. Then creating awareness in the consumers through consumer education. So it's a big job that has to go on without any interruption in a welfare society. So consumer education has to be taken up. These are the key aspects, key objectives of Consumer Protection Act. Next question. Now you have questions that have to be answered, wherein 8 to 10 points have to be given. You may find the answer to be long here. Don't get disturbed. You can condense it. I have tried to cover as many points as possible, such that you will find it easy to write at least a few in the exam. And if you write about 6 points or 8 points or 10 points, and they are all key points, automatically you get full marks. Now each question will carry 4 marks here. 4 marks. You have 4 questions here. 4 into 4, 16 marks. Explain the role of moderates. 34th question. Explain the role of moderates in the freedom movement of India. See the side caption given. The role of moderates in the freedom movement of India. That's why I have not given the question separately. Write the side caption and start off. What's the first one? These moderates, they played a very key role in the first 20 years. The first 10 years, you make it first 20 years, 10 plus 10. First 20 years of the Indian National Congress, that's 1885 to 1905. 1885 to 1895, 10 years. 1895 to 1905, another 10 years. So first 20 years of the Indian National Congress, it came into form in 1885. That period is called as the age of moderates. So you mention what is that period? First 20 years, 1885 to 1905. Some of the key moderate leaders were Vyomachandra Banerjee, that's W.C. Banerjee, you need not write in full, W.C. Banerjee, Mahadev Govind Ranade, M.G. Ranade, then Surendranath Banerjee, then Dadabhai Nauroji, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, the guru, political guru of Mahatma Gandhiji, and Mahatma Gandhiji himself later, but he comes after the first 20 years. They are all examples, key moderate leaders in India. Later on, in the latter period of our freedom struggle, you have many moderate leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru, Kasturba, Sarojini Naidu, Jawaharlal Nehru. They were all moderate leaders. Moderates had faith in the rule of the British and judiciary in the first 20 years. They believed that the British are doing good. Let's help them. Let's join hands with them. And wherever they go wrong, wherever they need help, let's extend. They were very honest in their thinking. They used to table their demands within the framework of the Constitution through prayers and requests. They got most of the jobs done, or they were trying to get them done by way of prayers and requests to the British government. They respected them. They had respect in what the British were doing. So they had faith in the British government. They tried to bring in political awareness among people, because people as such, they did not know the actual situation in the country. So people had to be educated, and they were getting them educated. They tried to bring political awareness among the people. They organized public meetings, discussed various burning issues, and submitted memorandums to the government. So by way of requests, prayers, and memorandums, they were trying to get most of the things done. They demanded cutting down of the military expenditure, developing industries in the country, and providing good education to people. They explained the drain of resources of India into England and called it drain theory. It was mainly Dadabhai Nauroji who put forth his theory and said Indian goods are being purchased at a very low rate, they are being taken to Britain, and their finished goods are getting ready, and they come to India and they sell at a higher rate. With that, what happens? Indian wealth is getting drained out. We are becoming poorer and poorer year by year, and this should stop. This period is known as the age of liberal nationalism. You don't see much violence here. Everything was going on quietly, and we were going by way of requests and prayers to the British government. 35th question now. What were the achievements of Jawaharlal Nehru as the Prime Minister of India? Look at the question. The phrase says, as the Prime Minister of India, not as a freedom leader. Jawaharlal Nehru had a unique place in the freedom struggle. But here you are asked, as Prime Minister of the country, what did he do? What were his achievements? Let's see. Nehru was a pioneer of developmental programs in independent India. He was an architect of industrialization of modern India. He believed in industrialization of India and building a modern India. He, along with Sardar Patel, was successful in the merger of all princely states. He was our first Prime Minister. He was our Prime Minister for a period of about 17 years. Sardar Patel was his Home Minister. They were successful in getting all the princely states merged into the Union of India. He played a key role in the formation of linguistic states. The question was as to how to have the states within India, because we have to have a federal structure ultimately. So how should this federal structure be? How should it be formed? And ultimately, everyone accepted that it should be based on linguism, based on languages. In 1956, we had the linguistic pattern coming into formation. He laid a formidable foundation for Indian democracy. The kind of rule he gave in that period, that gave a very good foundation for the Indian democracy. He introduced mixed economic system with enough stress on both public and private sectors. Both these public and private sectors should get balanced well, and the country should be able to build up. He introduced 5-year plans, paving the way for country's progress. 5-year plans they started on the pattern of Russia, and it worked out well. He gave shape to the non-aligned foreign policy of India. We neither went by the capitalistic bloc led by USA, nor the communist bloc led by the USSR. We traversed along a middle path. The best in the capitalistic system we took, best in the communist bloc too we took, and we built a path of our own. So we remain neutral. Even in the international sphere, we followed a neutral path. Then Panchashila principles formulated by Nehru, we came across it already, gave a firm edifice, firm foundation to our relations with our neighbors. Nehru designed it. We should have a path wherein we believe in absolute peace, a formidable peace. We should have good relations with all our neighbors. No doubt, we had a war with China in 1962, but it gave a very good foundation to our foreign policy. With the aim of mastering atomic energy, he laid the foundation for that with Homi J. Bhabha. At Trombay, we started our first atomic plant, and over years it developed. Today, we are an atomic power in the world. We are an atomic power. That was much needed. So Jawaharlal Nehru's various acts from the viewpoint of progress of the country, at least you should be able to write about 7 or 8 of these 10, or if you have any more, you can get them added up. 36th question. Structure and functions of the General Assembly of the United Nations Organization. UNO, it is the world government. World government. They may not be ruling each of the countries, but as a world government, they give us the guidelines. They guide us. We are a true active member of the United Nations. We have contributed a lot to this world government. The General Assembly is an affiliated body of the United Nations. It has 6 key bodies. Of these, the most important body is the General Assembly. Now you have to write about the functions and structure of General Assembly. The General Assembly is an affiliated body of the United Nations Organization. It acts like a global parliament to discuss world issues. All the nations in the world, they are represented there. 193 nations are represented there in the United Nations. Every country sends 5 members to the General Assembly. It's called as the World Parliament, Global Parliament. But they have only one single vote to be cast whenever voting takes place. But 5 members will be representing every nation. It elects a president for a term of 1 year. Every year the president changes. It also elects 17 vice. Say from our country we have Vijay Lakshmi Pandit. She was president of the General Assembly for 1 year. It also elects 17 vice presidents and 7 chairpersons for the 7 permanent committees of the United Nations. Normal General Assembly session commences in the month of September. These are all the points you can write. For all matters of approval, a 2/3 majority is mandatory. Whenever voting is there, 2/3 of the members have to accept. Then it gets referred to the Security Council. General budget is approved in the General Assembly. It passes the budget of the United Nations. A special session can be convened if there are any emergency issues. Say, in case there is a war somewhere in the world, immediately the General Assembly may have to have its session. A special session can be called. Yeah, again you have 9 points here, important. Now the last question we go to, no, we have one more, 37th question we have. List out the different land use patterns of India. Land use patterns. In India, the land use pattern can be classified into 7 categories. First one is the net sown area, where you are growing crops. Net sown area, where you have sown seeds. Second one, forest area, forest cover. Third one, land not available for cultivation. There are lands which are not available for cultivation. Say roads, railways, land is used. There you can't cultivate at all. Fallow land, land due to dryness or some reason it's fallow. You can't grow anything there. Say Sundarbans, there your lands, you can't grow anything there because it is due to the sea water that enters in. The quality of land is such you cannot grow anything there. Or you have the Kutch. In Kutch too we are trying experiments to grow food there too. But if you can't grow anything because of the nature of the land, you call it as fallow land. Then cultivable wasteland. You can cultivate, but it's lying as a wasteland. Today or tomorrow we should be able to cultivate there too. Permanent pastures. Pastures are areas where animals can graze. Permanent pastures and other grazing lands. And last one is land under miscellaneous uses. You are using for various purposes. Miscellaneous purposes, they are brought under here. Now the last question we go for, it is map work. The question is, draw an outline map of India and mark the following. Children, learn well. If you don't draw the map of the nation properly, in a proper shape, learn it well, you fail in this last question. It should be drawn properly, it should look like India. Practice over a few days, you can draw well. Okay, here what is it? What are the places you have to mark? Govind Pant Vallabh Sagar. Now this is the reservoir of Bakranangal Dam. You see there somewhere, a little above Chandigarh you mark there. New Delhi, a little above the place where you mark New Delhi, you have Govind Pant Vallabh Sagar. See, some books, guides may tell you that it is a reservoir of Rihand. It is true. That comes in somewhere down where Ganges is flowing. But that is not the one which you are asked to show. You have to mark the reservoir of the Bakranangal Dam. That is the key, most important one. Then B, tea port of India. Tea is grown mainly in Assam. From where do we export it to other countries? It is brought to Kolkata. So when they say tea port of India, it means you have to show Kolkata. When you are asked Govind Pant Vallabh Sagar, you have to show Bakranangal Dam, its reservoir. Tea port of India, you can write there Kolkata if you like. Even if you don't write, only mark it. It's enough. Then C, Chhatrapati Shivaji International Airport. You should know where the airport is. It's Mumbai. You have to mark Mumbai, Chhatrapati Shivaji International Airport. Then last one, fourth one asked is Nilgiris. When he says Nilgiris, he means it is the Nilgiri range of hills. It comes somewhere down in Tamil Nadu. It is marked there, you see, Nilgiri hills. So draw the map, mark the places, learn them all well. You will be able to enjoy 1+4, all the 5 marks that are set aside for map work. With this, 80 marks paper is over. See that you can write all these answers within 3 hours. With whatever is given here in the video, you try, write down. Even if you copy, it's alright. Write down and see whether you can finish in 3 hours. If you can't finish, there must be some problem with your writing, or you're slow in writing or remembering. Answers should be on the tip of your tongue, and write whatever is required. You need not write all the points in all the questions. You can substantiate, bring it down to whatever is required. Prepare well. Thank you.